Audio boys and girls, it's time for another Jeep Talk Show interview. We're going to be talking with Natasha. Natasha, you remind me of your name every time. All our viewers here know I have a problem saying names. If I get the name anywhere close, I'm doing good. So our co-host April, I often call her Amber. Don't know why. It just happens. So we've made it into a drinking game. All right. So today we're excited to welcome our guest Natasha from Lithia Fireside RV Rental. Natasha and her team have more Jeep stories than most people can keep up with. From delivering 8 units with Judd for the Treasure Coast Jeep Club and 14 more to the Pinellas Jeep Club to being longtime vendors at events across the country. This year, they delivered campers instead of hitting the trails themselves, but the adventure continues. That had to have been hard. I mean, one thing to have business and deliver, stuff that you make any income on, but not going off road and not being able to go off road. That's got to be a killer.
Yes, definitely. I'm always one to get on those trails at Jeeping with Judd. They're amazing. I think it's the Orlando Jeep Club that spends like 2 months before Jeeping with Judd to get those trails ready. And we were vendors the year before, and I only got to go on the trails the very last day and like a couple.
Yeah.
So this time, we just didn't have time at all.
Well, actually, in the intro here, we continue about you guys being vendors. They're regular vendors at Jeep Toberfest. I want to say October, but Jeep Toberfest at Ocala. Have sent Jeeps up to the new off-road park north of there and made it a point to attend Jeep Beach every year. They also joined the Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion in Tennessee. Currently running 2 TJs, Natasha's Jeep has taken several show wins, and Ricky's Pumpkin Gladiator, Ricky's not here, don't look around, Ricky's Pumpkin Gladiator was fully built out for overlanding. Complete with a rooftop tent, propane, awnings, water, a shower, changing room, and even portable AC. Oh, God, the AC's got to be, especially when you're in Florida, because I know it's a lot like Texas during the summertime. At Jeep Beach, their setup was the envy of the event. But after purchasing the franchise nearly 2 years ago, they upgraded to heavier-duty trucks capable of serious towing. Because those Gladiators max out at 7,500 pounds, and their customers need rigs that can haul the campers and gear. Natasha, thank you for being here, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so what in the world, besides the need for money, especially for Jeep mods, would you buy a RV franchise?
Well, I think Jeeping and camping are kind of hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going out into the woods, you're going out to do an adventure. And how we got started is in 2019, I believe it was, we went to Sedona and we rented a Jeep Wrangler, and we took that rental all over the place, up a mountain and everywhere. And we were like, oh my God, this is amazing. We have to get a Jeep. So when we got back, because it was always something that was expensive, right? Something that you had to save up for. And we got back and I saw the Gladiators. They just come out in 2020, I believe.
Yeah.
And I got mine first. I got a white Gladiator. I think what was it? Overlander?
Okay.
What was it called? I can't remember. It's not the Rubicon.
Might have been the Overland. I can't remember the model.
Yeah, Overland, I think is what it was. And then Ricky decided he wanted to get one. And so we went to a dealership, and in the way back of the parking lot was this pumpkin Gladiator, and it was still had the plastic on it and everything. He's like, I want that one, And so that Gladiator was amazing. He did so much to it. And we really loved it. And especially with the 270 awning and the bathroom and we had water tanks in there, water pump, water heater, the whole thing, And so at Jeep Beach, you can't get it any better with that awning and having the changing room to go to the bathroom, because that's the problem for Jeep Beach. It's cold and you really don't want to go into the water, which I had to do this year. But yeah. And then I went from the Gladiator to, I had the electric one, what's it called?
4xe.
Yeah, 4xe. So I had one of those, and then we switched that out for the 392. So I had a Tuscadero 392 Rubicon, which was gorgeous, amazing. I loved it. I was, like I'm a realtor also for 20 years, so I was Jeep and realtor. And so I have videos of me and my pink Jeep going through a community and stuff like that. So then I had to give up my 392, my pink 392 for a truck. So,
Was it the Tuscadero Pink? Was it the one
yeah,
that was the one from Happy Days? Yeah. That
yep,
was an interesting color. I think that's a great color. And I don't want to leave out men, but I always thought it was a great color for women. I could really see women gravitating towards that, and especially with the 392. Now you got two things there that are extra special.
yep. I loved it. I took it to the Bradenton drag racetrack because we have a GTR R35 with like 1,200 horsepower. So my husband did the quarter mile in that and got like 8 something seconds, but I did the quarter mile in about 12 something seconds.
It's not bad for a box, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
It was pretty good. It was awesome. I mean, I was nervous and everything because you're somebody's next to you. You don't know what they're going to do, but it
Oh
was
yeah,
pretty
they can always cross the line. They need a big wall there.
Yeah.
So it was an automatic. Well, I think that's the 392s only come in automatic. So you were automatic. Do you remember what your speed was on the quarter mile? I mean, the time is the most important, but just the thought of doing 120 or 130 or, whatever that can be a little daunting because not all tires are made for that kind of speed.
Right. They do limit the speed on, I don't know if it's just that 392, but
Oh, you're right. They have
there is a
a
limit.
governor in there. Yeah, 99 miles an hour, I think, is as fast as it'll go.
Well, I had the Recon package, so it did go to 110. I don't know if I've ever got it to 110.
That sucks for the quarter mile. You need to be able to get those. You need to have that whole range of speed. I was following my friend to Moab a couple of years ago, and he passed a vehicle, and then I was going to pass him. I have a Gladiator as well with the 3.6, and I don't really look at the speed whenever I'm passing somebody. It's more important to see oncoming traffic and the vehicle that you're passing or vehicles. And I got around it, and I looked down as I was getting ready to slow down. I think I was at 108 or something. And I told my friend that had the 392 ahead of me, and he was like, damn, I'm governed to 99. I said, I don't know. I thought this one was too. So
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't even think my husband, I think his speed on his GTR was only maybe 115 or something in the quarter mile.
Right. Well, the high end isn't as important in the quarter mile, but sometimes you see people go very fast. And their ETA is usually smaller because they've gotten up to speed faster, which means they're traveling faster in the quarter mile. But yeah, the speed on the quarter mile isn't as important as the time. So you remember the biggest part of it.
Right. And then I took it off-road one time, and of course I sunk it almost. It was pretty scary because I was leading the trail, and I went last, and I thought the side would have been the best, but it wasn't. And it just sank in. And I think they had dug it out or something, all the people going before
Oh, yeah.
me.
Well, the big trucks that have those huge, 40, 45-inch tires with digging it out. It definitely, and you can't see if it's filled with water. Now, I looked up Florida ahead of time just to make sure this was correct. The wheeling in Florida is primarily swamp, mud, that type of thing, not really rocks or anything, nothing like Moab or something. So I think everybody in a Jeep or an off-road vehicle has enjoyed the mud once, maybe twice, but the hours that go along with cleaning it up
That's the difference between me and my husband. I am like, let's go to the mud, like all the way. I'm like egging people on when we used to go in our big group.
Uh-huh.
And I'd be like, you can do it. Let's do
Oh
it.
yeah, it's a blast. That out of control, squishy feeling,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's a lot of fun. So I'm guessing your husband cleans your Jeep.
Yes. So he doesn't like it. And it isn't good for the Jeep, to be honest.
No, it's not. That's not. It absolutely isn't. Especially the alternator.
Oh yeah. It's like my whole on my Barbie, I call her Barbie-Con, my TJ. She's the one that I off-road with. She's got a 6.5-inch lift with 37s. I have Dirty Life rims. I mean, she has PRP race seats in them that I customized. Um, all the things. And she's super cute, right? And when you lift up the hood, we have to clean it under there because it is so bad. It's like just dirt everywhere. I'm like, we got to clean. He was scared to clean it. And Red Scorpion, which is a big repair shop here in Tampa area, he's like, no, you can just, you can get it wet and stuff.
Yeah, it may be difficult starting initially, but it dries and it should be fine. Do you still have the, assuming you have the 4-liter or had the 4-liter, and that's still the same engine that you have in there, the straight six?
The Jeep Talk Show is more than a podcast. It's a show that's been on since 2010, and we have over 1,400 episodes. Head over to xjtalk.com and subscribe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And actually it was just a regular sport, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2005. I just hit 30,000 miles, which is ridiculous.
TJs are great. My wife has a TJ, and that's probably my favorite Wrangler, is the TJ. That's before they started making them out of tin foil and other things.
Yeah, you try to put a magnet on the side of your thing, and it's like, whoop.
Yeah, what the hell is this? That is true. Then the Florida is mostly mud and that type of, I'm sure you've got woods and things, but as far as challenging obstacles, it's going to be water, swamp, alligators.
Yeah, pretty much. There was a park called Hard Rock, and it did have some like good hills, like hill climbs,
Right.
but not really rock. I mean, there would be some like places where they would make it kind of like an obstacle, but not like Sedona, because we just went to Sedona in the summer, and of course we rented another Jeep. It was a Rubicon at least, and it had some kind of lift on it, I guess. And we went on some amazing trails in Sedona. It was absolutely gorgeous, but you're in a rental, so it's like
Right. Well, I've never been to Arizona to go wheeling, but that's one of the areas I'd really like to go. I think New Mexico as well, New Mexico, Arizona, because I think that desert environment would be just a lot of fun just to be out inside that area, even if it wasn't any hard off-road technical type things. A lot of Jeeping, I think, and I think most people know this, but we do have newbies all the time listening or watching the show. I think the big thing about Jeeping that you learn really quickly, it's not what you're doing that is particularly scary or dangerous for you and or your Jeep. It's going places that most people can't go and they'll never see because they weren't in an off-road Jeep. So I learned this very well by going to Moab, which, Moab's not a difficult place to go to, and you could go out there in a car. But I think there were areas that I got to go to, dinosaur footprints and drawings on ancient drawings on rock surfaces that I would not have been able to see unless I was out there in an off-road vehicle. So right. I think that's one of the cool things. You basically have superpowers when you have a Jeep, an off-road vehicle, to go places that most people can't.
Right, exactly. I mean, when we went to Tennessee, somebody told us about a trail. We had to find it in somewhere, it was like just off the side of the road, and we found it. And it was a little scary because the road was only as wide as my Jeep. And, we had a Gladiator, and they were okay, but my Jeep's so tall and so tipsy. And my husband was out spotting me, telling me where to go, but it was like one slip and we could have went all down the hill. But once we got all the way to the top, it was like the view was like, oh my God, like we just sat there and we're all like, oh my God, this is amazing. So we just love the Jeep family, the Jeep life. Any time I can go, it's like we're so busy with the campers and the RVs and stuff. Summer is our slow time. So this is now our time that we can actually do stuff, go to some more events that are local that we couldn't before. We want to plan a trip from here to go to the Panhandle. There's a place where you can camp on the Gulf and right on the beach, which is amazing, and then hit Louisiana and then go to Sedona again and just tow one of our TJs. We have his up for sale. I mean, we had four Jeeps. We had his Gladiator, my 392, and the two TJs. And now we're down to two TJs and probably down to one, just because we just don't have the time.
All right.
But you know, we took it to Jeep Beach. It finally got out there because he did a bunch of stuff to that one, like coilovers and triangulation, welding, whatnots. And I was like, you got to use this thing. You know, I know we're trying to sell it, but like we got to use it because he barely used it the whole time that he's.
Sounds like he enjoys working on them a lot and upgrading them.
Yeah, he's done all the lights on our Jeeps. Even putting the DS18 sound bars in there. He did all of that. The radios, he didn't do the lifts or anything like that, but like just any little modification that you could come up with, he put it in. And him and his buddy with the overlanding, they did so much. You know, they would go on forums and do all that and learn all that. So,
right. Well, here at the Jeep Talk Show, we like to save people money. And we can save you money by not getting the 1,000-watt amplifier and all that bass and the special speaker things, because you don't need all that to listen to a podcast. Just listen to the Jeep Talk Show, and it will save you thousands of dollars.
Yeah, right. Well, I think people spent thousands at Jeep Beach at those DS18 and all those sound places. Those sound shows. I don't know if you've been to Jeep Beach.
No.
But it's at the Daytona Speedway. I'm familiar with it. We've had individuals from the show go, but I'll tell you what, I've been ruined by going to EJS because the thought of parking the Jeep and walking around and looking at booths, it's not the same as meeting with your friends, going to eat, going on the trails, and just being out there in the environment. And that's kind of how I judge all Jeep events now. And also, too, I don't know about you, you've got to be concerned about this. Saltwater. Saltwater is not friendly for our Jeeps, especially the TJs. Well, on Jeep Beach, you're pretty far. You know, you don't go into the water when you're on the beach. You're close to the shore, what do you call it?
Yeah, the ocean. Yeah, the Gulf.
You're not in the wet stuff.
Right.
Really.
You're close enough for it to do damage. I'm just going to tell people that you really need to rinse those things off if you've been anywhere close to the beach, because the air is very salty as well with the water inside the air. If you're planning on keeping your Jeep, you got TJs. Those are old, and I'm sure you don't want to have to go through them. So I'll just tell our friends here listening, just wash it down whenever you get it back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they have like a off-road park that some people they went to, but it's it's not in the ocean or anything or near it.
I would imagine that a lot of the water in Florida is salt water, isn't it? Or is it just adjacent to the Atlantic and the Gulf?
Well, not where the trails are. You know, Daytona is pretty much the only place that you can drive on the beach.
Mm-hmm. And people do. I mean, I think it looks cool. It looks fun. It's almost like driving in the mud. It's fun, but at what cost?
Right. It's just a big party, really, is what it is.
Oh,
and
sure.
It's a big parade of Jeeps, you know, so everybody lines up, everybody's grilling, enjoying all their stuff, you know. People are throwing ducks to each other, beads, whatnot. And they're just passing by. But they've this year, they had a lot of rules, and they really are cracking down. It kind of hurt because of spring break. There was a issue and spring break, which
Well,
has nothing to do with
I'm
us, our
sure.
community.
I'm sure the 50-year-old men didn't mind spring break being there.
Well, it was on the beach, and it was like, I can't say too much because I don't want to say. Anyway, it was a big thing that was on the beach, and it's younger people. I don't know. And they kind of ruined it. So they were like, your music has to be really they were pulling people over for having loud music.
Really?
Main Street, which is the main, that's where Bike Week is and everything. And they really had cops everywhere. It was just
That's
so.
interesting because this is a big time for companies to make money whenever crowds like that come in, and you don't want to. I mean, there's a level at which you don't want to go over, but a large police presence is going to kind of make people leave and make people not come back the next year.
I definitely, because that place, I don't think people go to Daytona normally unless there's a big event. Like, I
Sure.
mean, people do, but it's not like the main place that people would go. So they're kind of messing it up. I
Yeah.
think, it was not even half as busy as it was the year before. So,
Well,
and
this is a bad time of year too because of the Iran war and all the gas prices being as high as they are. I think it would have been a lot better had the gas prices been where they were before the war, because it's like, why not? It's not going to cost much. But now, being like twice as much or 75% more for gasoline, people got to consider it.
right. Yeah, definitely. People coming from out of state, especially, like
Right.
we're about 2.5 hours from Daytona. So
Oh, that's not bad.
yeah, we took our truck, our 3,500, and just flat towed the Jeep there. So we don't have to, I don't want to drive 2.5 hours in the TJ, really, honestly,
Right.
on the
Well, and that's
freeway.
kind of the bad thing about modifying. It's really cool, and for short drives, I mean, you can drive it a long ways, but it's not a comfortable thing to ride in. A lot of bumps. I don't know if you still have air conditioning hooked up. All those niceties that you get from full size pickups or even the newer Jeeps. So yeah, I get you. I did 19 hours to EJS and in the Gladiator, and it was wonderful. I mean, it's modified, but it's not overly modified. So the ride, everything was very nice. So let me ask you about this. We want to talk about the RV business. I had asked you about buying the franchise and getting involved in that. Have you ever done RV rentals or rentals before?
So we owned a Class A, which is like a bus, like a big bus.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a diesel pusher. And then I told my husband when we bought it, I'm like, we have to rent it out, because I came across someone who did a lot of rentals with Daytona, like at the races and stuff like that, for
Right.
luxury things like that. And that didn't pan out. We thought we thought he was going to get us some rentals, but he didn't. And then we're like, well, we'll just do it ourselves. And then we bought a little 16-foot, I call a bed in a box. And it's basically a bed. It has air conditioning and heat. It has a little fireplace.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fancy.
It's got an outdoor kitchen with a refrigerator, a microwave, a griddle. And of course, Ricky put rock lights on it. And so it's got the underglow of
Well, it's nice, especially if you've gone to the bathroom and you can't find your way back.
Yeah, exactly. It has the bathroom room off of it, just like the Jeep had. We put a 270 awning on it, everything. It's pretty cool little Jeep. And it has rugged off-road tires and the wheel, what do you call them?
Fenders, flares?
Fenders, yes. The fenders. They're like all metal. And so it's 16 foot. It's probably like 2,700 pounds. So most Jeeps can,
Mm-hmm.
bigger the 4-door Wranglers can tow it. We've had multiple Jeep owners rent that. And so it's one of the few units that a Wrangler can tow.
Right.
And
Is this like
so
for two people, three people, two adults,
people.
two kids? Yeah.
2 people. We do have a rooftop tent that was on his Gladiator that we're thinking about adding to the top of that. So then you could have 4. So you'd have the rooftop tent and then inside.
Right.
So That one. So we put them up for rent and we tried to do it on our own. And we weren't really getting anything, like on Facebook, we put it on there and, it was $250 a night for the big class A. And people would be like, "Oh, is that $250 for the month?" I'm like, "Are you crazy?" Like, this is $150,000 piece of equipment. No. Right. But so I don't know. Somehow Gar advertisement on Facebook. I saw an ad on Facebook, and I was like listening to it, and I'm like, "Oh, use other people's RVs and rent them out, like an Airbnb management for RVs and campers." And I was like, "Well, that's interesting." So I talked to somebody, my husband was just like, he was always skeptical of everything. And so I'm like, let's just listen, let's just see. And we talked to Gar and we felt comfortable and we decided. And this was the time that real estate was really going down. I mean, really bad. Mm-hmm. What was it? 2 years ago, July is when we made the change. And my business as a realtor for 20 years was very, very good. That's how we afforded all of our stuff, because I did really well as a realtor. And I was like, we got to do something else. We have to do something else. And what can we do? And we came across this, and it's something that the two of us are doing together. So he does the tech, he's an RV tech, basically. He does all the manual prepping and repairs and all the things that have to do with that. And I do all the reservations, logistics when we're planning a big event, like all that kind of, and I do deliveries. So I do deliveries. I have a 3,500. He has a 3,500. I am towing campers, like 37 foot. I even do fifth wheels. So like we have a 44-foot one.
So let me ask you this real quick before we get too far from it. You mentioned Gar a couple of times. I don't think we've told the audience who Gar is. Who is Gar?
Gar is the owner of Fireside RV Rental. So at Fireside, when we started, I think there was maybe 30 locations across the country. Now there is, I think, over 60 locations across the country, from Vegas to Green Bay to, there's some in Tennessee, Alabama, all over Georgia, mm-hmm. all over the place. And
so Gar is the one that owns the company that you got the franchise from.
Yep. Okay. So he's the franchise, or I guess is what they call it.
Yeah. So I think a lot of us know what franchises is from like the McDonald's aspect. And I think we all know that McDonald's is very particular on how the franchisees run the McDonald's restaurants. They have to be the same ingredients, the same quality. Does Gar tell you guys, hey, you can't put that pop-up tent on that thing, or you can only have this and you can only have that? And he doesn't want it to vary very much between franchisees.
No, it's not strict like that. We are all individually owned and operated. Mm-hmm. So they do support, training, systems, all of that. I mean, of course, there is guidelines that we're trying to get that is universal, because we strive for 5 stars in all of our reviews and how we treat our customers. And we're very, very, very particular about it. And for whatever reason, when something goes wrong with another franchise that's in our area, somewhat in our area, they call us. I don't know if it's because my Google page is higher up or whatever, but right. I'm like,
they've heard good things about you guys. That's why they're calling.
Yeah, I'm just like, well, it's not us. I want everybody to be similar to how our work ethic is, right. But you can't make everybody do that. But yeah, we're in the top, like probably in the top 3 of franchises in the country.
That's wonderful. That says a lot about you guys and your work ethic. So let me ask you this: one of the things that would scare the hell out of me is, given my stuff, especially my expensive stuff, and I know it's all relative to how much money you have, but given my expensive stuff to somebody I don't know and expecting it to come back in at least working condition, have you had some horror stories? Do you check these people out before you give them the keys, or you let them hook up and tow it off?
The renters,
Yep.
well, I would say we do about 98% we deliver setup and pickup.
Oh, okay.
So, sorry, my phone's blowing up. So we do about 98% where they don't tow it themselves. Now, the drivables, they do. Of course, you know, I mean, we have delivered camper vans to me personally. I don't know why they would rent it just for it to sit because it costs way more money.
Right.
Welcome to the Jeep Talk Show Discord. Join us for real builds and real trails. Connect with other Jeep enthusiasts now. Link in the description.
But as far as drivables, we haven't had, we've had a couple little bumps, like a little, like somebody ran into the pole and did something to the step or whatever.
Right.
But no
Is
major.
Is there a deposit that you guys have?
Oh, yeah.
So in case there's problems, is it like renting an apartment where you have to have it in clean state when it's turned back in, and if it's not, you get charged for the cleaning?
Yes, we charge them a prep fee, which is a cleaning fee and prepping the, unit with propane and toilet paper and different things. And as long as they give it back to us, broom swept, counters wiped down, dishes done, garbage removed, the basic cleaning, they won't be charged any other fees. We only take a credit card. And so there is a
good
deposit.
idea. That way you have the identity, or at least of the credit card. Who knows if they stole it or not? but well, this is a lot of the things that I talk about, these robo taxis that are coming about. My wife goes, people are going to make messes in there if there's nobody watching them. I said, yeah, but they're going to have their credit card information, and they'll have already agreed to pay for any damage or cleaning that has to be done. I would assume that's kind of this.
Talking about the ones where there's no driver?
No driver, driverless, full self-driving.
Yeah, I did that in Vegas. They have cameras in there.
Oh, yeah, cameras, and they know who you are, and all that stuff. So I would assume you guys kind of do the same thing. You've not had any issues with just that kind of knowing who they are type thing. People haven't done anything crazy in the rentals.
No, I mean, we did do a big music festival up north. And when we got there, Ricky was kind of like, holy cow, because there was all kind of people.
Damn hippies. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it was wild there. And we had a pretty big group that was staying in one of our big fifth wheels. And when we got, I mean, it could have been way worse. I've heard way more horror stories of like crazy stuff at the music festivals. It was dirty. They didn't really do much damage.
Well, you could wind up having a drug paraphernalia left in there.
Yeah.
And so you really have to go through things, and you probably have to be really careful, especially if there's a potential of needles involved.
Yeah. We definitely, I mean, in our contract, they have to sign a rental agreement.
Sure.
And there's a bunch of rules, and it's all in our favor, of course,
Right.
But they have to have a deposit. Their driver's license is, even if they're not towing or whatever, they do have to provide that in the system. It's all in a system. And if they break, they also have to have a protection plan. So they have to pay daily for that protection plan. Whatever.
So like insurance is what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't cover interior though. So like it's mainly for accidents, that kind of stuff. So if they just damage stuff, then that comes out of their deposit.
And then of course you guys have insurance on your stuff for lost, stolen, all kinds of stuff, I'm sure. So I think people don't understand, and not saying that y'all's is expensive stuff, but people look at it like cell phoning or renting, and they go, my God, renting's so high. Well, you're running a business. You have to make sure that your assets are protected, and there's fees. There's work that has to be done when you get these things back. So all this stuff adds up. And I think you guys have probably studied this. It is, unless you're going driving or camping someplace a lot every year, owning your own trailer or vehicle to camp in is probably way more expensive than just using it when you need it.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing. And most of the people that are owners here, I think we have 29 units now.
Wow.
So we have a pretty good fleet, and we own, I think, 4 of the units. Everything else is owned by other people, and we treat it as if our own. I mean, we call it the Ricky bubble bath for the campers, especially for the vans, because we have 4 camper vans, and those are very, very popular right now. Some people don't even sleep in it. They just want to have a bathroom and have a little refrigerator as they're traveling to go see family. We had people that someone was sick and they wanted to, it was kind of sad. This lady, her sister was, stage 4 cancer, and she wanted to see the Smoky Mountains, and I'm going to cry a little bit here, Michelle. Took her to the Smoky Mountains in our van
Oh,
just so she
nice.
could see it.
Yeah.
And she literally passed away the day they got back. So I enjoy that we can help people
Yeah, absolutely.
get out there. Because you can't afford, I mean, the van they took is 200 and some $1,000. That's not something that most people are going to want to afford or even qualify for. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Right.
buying a house almost. Well, not nowadays, but
The good old days it was.
yeah.
So my wife watches this show. I think it has Dr. Now in it, and he does surgery on people that weigh in excess of 800 pounds. And then quite often he's in Houston. So they'll travel from wherever they are to Houston, and they might get them in a van that they barely fit in, or sometimes they even put them in the back of the van because they don't fit in any of the seats. And I'm thinking now, I think that most of their money has been spent on food, but what a wonderful it would be to be like if they were coming from Florida to get one of your trailers that they could literally be more comfortable in, because that's always been a problem for them, is the travel is very difficult for them because their body size and weight is so big and heavy that they just can't be comfortable.
The only thing with our vans is there's a lot of stuff in it, like you have a bathroom, and so the hall, it would be very hard to get them in there because it's very, narrow. Like we do have, the one van has a bed in the back, but you can't get to it. It's like a car seat in the back, that folds down. So I don't know. Well, maybe you could go through the back, but it would be pretty hard to do.
Yeah, it's just a thought. And I know there's some people out there that watch that and go, oh yeah, that would be nice.
Well, and I mean, if they're not so big, or, if they're like, just sick or need to be comfortable while they're traveling, like be able to lay down at some point or have access to a bathroom is a very important thing for a lot of people.
Sure.
And have a refrigerator there. So in case you need, to keep something cold, like, I don't know, insulin or whatever, like medications or something, or have water or whatever. But yeah, we have all types of people that rent from us, from Jeepers that are going to events like Jeeping with Judd, or they just tow it up themselves to the different events, to we do the races. We do Daytona 500. We did that. We had, I think, like 8 units at Daytona. We had a couple drivers. Bobby Earnhardt is the grandson of Dale Earnhardt. He stayed in one of our campers. One of the Noah Gregson, he was in the Daytona 500 in the main race. We also do Sebring, which is a big race here in Florida. It's called the 12-hour race. It's like the Rolex 24-hour race, which is also in Daytona, where they race for 24 hours. That's another one that we did. And then Sebring's a 12-hour race, and that's a huge camping thing. Like 10,000 campers go and camp there.
Mm-hmm.
So we do Talladega, our Alabama location, and our Georgia, Tennessee, where whoever is close to Talladega. Our main guy, Dathan, he does like 50 units into Talladega. It's a huge production. So I think with Fireside, it's like a family. We can talk to other franchises and see how they're doing, what they're doing. We mentor other franchises. So that's the benefit of the franchise. We do get discounts on the big platforms, like it's called RV Share. where you can go and look for rentals, but we have our own website. So if you ever want to rent one, you're going to come to us directly.
Give us that website. I was just getting ready to mention that. I was looking
Okay.
up.
It's Lithia, LITHIA.FiresideRVRental.com. And if you want to call, it's 813-309-9808. But on our website, it'll have all the units. You can plug in your dates and see what's available. It'll give you the prices. I do have to approve it because I approve all the reservations because I want to make sure 100% that it's not, that the unit is working properly,
Sure.
that it's not double booked or anything like that. And just kind of see where you're going and what you're doing. And I'm not that nosy, but I just,
It's just something that you have to do as a business owner. So does the website show what's available and what's not available, or can they click on something and then they may find out that it's already been rented out?
Yeah. So if they put their dates in, it's going to show if it's available or not.
Perfect.
So what they're going to do is like, hey, I want a travel trailer. So they click travel trailer and they put their dates in and hit search, and it's just going to show them the ones that are available for their whole trip.
If they're new to towing, do you guys want to know that? Maybe they have some questions about it. Maybe they don't even know what the range of weight that they can they can tow with their Jeep or their Gladiator.
Well, that's when I would talk to them and be like, what we do ask that question, what are you towing with? What is the maximum towing capacity of your vehicle? And they may not know, or we can help find out for them.
Right.
So yeah, we definitely need to know what's your towing capacity, because some of our travel trailers are 10,000 pounds.
Right.
So
and that's a no to a Gladiator. I'll just tell you people right now, that's a no to a Gladiator. Do all your trailers
have like 3 campers, I think, that a Gladiator can even tow.
Yeah.
I mean, some are close, but you don't want to max them out.
Yeah, there's going to be a safety factor in there, absolutely, like 80% or something like that they can do with electricity. So on the RVs that you're towing, the trailers that you're towing, do they have brakes on the trailer?
We have a brake controller so you want to have that adapter in your vehicle, so that
was going to be my next question, because you can put one in a Gladiator, but it generally doesn't come with a brake or a trailer brake controller.
We want them to have that.
Sure.
In their system. They need to have the hitch,
Right.
that fits, most of them are 2 and 5/16, but we have like that little guy is 2-inch. Mm-hmm. And then I think we have one other one that's 2-inch.
What do you do with a lifted Jeep? Because that can have an adverse angle for the trailer that you're towing.
Well, we did have a Jeeper that was helping us with deliveries with his Gladiator. We had to borrow him. We have hitches that are adjustable, so they're about this long, and they have different holes,
sure.
And you can put it up high and stuff.
Is that something that you rent along with the trailer, or is that something that you charge for? Or just they get to use when they use the trailer?
We want them to use their own, but if they don't have one at all, we can borrow one if we have one available.
Yeah, so their best situation would be to get an adjustable hitch, especially if they're planning on towing very often.
Right. Yeah, you need to have that. It's the best type of hitch to have is, you need to be able to move it up and down, because
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If it's low too, you need to raise it up because you don't want your trailer super low.
And I think most people understand this, but just in case, and you correct me if I'm wrong, you may not want to take that trailer to an off-road or I don't want to say off-road, because off-road can be a flat surface that doesn't really change in elevations. But if you're going out on something that has stair-step shelves, even 6 inches or so, that trailer hitch may not be the thing that you want to do. Do you guys actually tell people, hey, you can't take this on the Rubicon. You can't take this, up the side of a mountain.
We haven't had that come up, I guess,
Yeah, most people aren't going to do it.
Right. That's the reason. I think that's the reason why we do have a Class C Mercedes all-wheel drive. It's called an Integra Condor. And you can see it on, there's there's a YouTube couple that go all over the place. They've lifted it. They've done all kinds of stuff to it. Ours is lifted, but not to the extreme that they've done. And
Right.
it's a dually where they eliminated the dually on theirs, I guess, because it
Good
was easy for
Lord.
them to
That's
do.
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just got that, and we only used it one time at Daytona. We're going to use it again soon.
Welcome to the Jeep Talk Show newsletter. Stay informed with our latest episodes and roundtable discussions. Subscribe now at the link below for more.
It was time, and also it was at the dealer a lot. It was brand new. That's a whole nother story. I don't I get upset
You get to
about
learn a lot of things when you're in business, don't you?
Oh man, there is no regulation on how these campers and RVs are built. I mean, the chassis, yes, because it's Ford, it's Dodge, it's
Right.
Mercedes, right? But the houses, they put them together like you know what,
Mhm.
and then the dealerships, they just push them out like they have. You do a walk, but they want you to get it out, like
Sure.
take it. So once you've taken possession of your camper or RV, now you're in warranty service hell is what I call it. So I was like, I feel should be a advocate, consumer advocate for people because it's really bad and they don't care.
Well, it's
Like
not, but it's not profitable. So they're trying to stay profitable. They need to sell it and get it out there, and then let some other group handle it. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like if I would have caught these things before I took it off their lot, they get it fixed in like hours,
Yeah, but that costs them money. They'd much rather get that profit and then go on to the next one to get the profit. I understand the game, but it can be very frustrating.
Oh yeah, because we got that in I think October, and it's been in the dealership 2 weeks at a time every month. The last time it was there for a month, and we're paying $1,300 a month for nothing,
Yeah.
for something we can't even use,
Yeah.
So it's kind of frustrating. But anyway, I do need to get that listed, and he's kind of pushing it off. He's like, oh, people are going to take it and go, like off-road with it. And
It's
all of these.
scary. Yeah, you think about all the things that could happen, but if you think about it too much, you wouldn't be in business.
Right, and
It surprises me just how much information that we've gone through here, and I feel like we really even haven't scratched the surface. We're going to have you back on. But you've mentioned the website, and I'm sure you guys are on social media. Where can people find you guys on social media?
So we're at Lithia Fireside RV Rental on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. I have about 20,000 followers on there, but I don't know the name. It's something different. Like I put Jeep stuff, I put camper stuff, I put all kind of things on there.
Right.
My TikTok is where I do a lot of videos.
Yeah, people like seeing that, and I could well imagine people are going to want to go to the website lithia.firesidrvrental.com, and you can see what they have there. Because we've just described them with words, you can actually go over there and see what they've got, and I'm sure that'll generate a lot of ideas about how to get these. I would assume that you guys are just renting in the Florida area, right near the place, or what kind of distance do you guys go?
I mean, we've delivered to the Keys, which is about, I think it's like 5 or 6 hours from here.
Mm-hmm.
We mainly stay around here. But we go to Daytona, that's 2.5 hours away. We'll go wherever someone will pay us to go, right?
So if people are in the Florida area and they're interested in having an RV someplace to camp in, you go over here to this website, check out the Facebook page. Did you get your TikTok information? Did you want to get that in there?
Yeah, I have it here. I don't know which name is the name that you search for, but it's at RV Rental Firestarter. And then I do have it under Natasha X for Gen X. That's a big thing on TikTok right now if you're a Gen Xer. Jeep in Realtor.
Very, very cool. Oh, and speaking of the realtor thing, you had sent me an email earlier before the interview, and I saw on your little signature there at the bottom of the email that it said realtor, and I went, oh, holy crap, we've got a realtor that has snuck in that wants to use the Jeep Talk Show to try to sell houses. So I did a little research because we don't have anything protected. Anybody can go in and set up an interview. And I was happy to see that you guys had, the Jeep stuff. Well, I think we've gone back and forth in the emails a couple of 3 weeks ago, maybe a month. So I just had forgotten the names and who it was. But I thought that was funny. I was like, oh no, a realtor. Do you know this? I bet you do know this. I learned recently you never make eye contact with a realtor because you're going to be in a conversation shortly.
Yes, definitely. I'm not a pushy realtor. That's why when I was very active, that's why people would stick with me and use me. But I've met people and I've sold some Jeepers, some properties, So when I listed properties, I did, this lady had a 5-acre property. And I took my little TJ and I did a full video driving through her property.
Oh, that's neat. That's a great idea.
It was great. And I don't know if it's on the email. You'll have to look. I used to have links to that video.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was one other one that I took my 392. It was just through a community, like driving through.
Sure.
It was the big lagoon community that's like, it looks like the ocean, but it's a pool. I don't know if you've heard of those.
Mm.
That's something it was the first one in the country is in Florida. They're called crystal lagoons. They look they're like 5-acre pools that look like the ocean.
Nice.
So anyway,
yeah,
that's where I did the video with the Jeep. And so anyway, yeah, I called myself the Jeep and Realtor for a while.
That's not a bad idea because I think everybody at some point in their life has wanted a Jeep, and for some reason they haven't got one yet. Get a Jeep. You'll really appreciate it, and you'll understand the Jeep family thing. Natasha, thanks a lot for being with us today. Very interesting conversation. And again, we'll have to get you back so we can delve into this deeper.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right. Stay Jeeping. Bye.
You're my friend. You're my new friend.
Welcome to the Jeep Talk Show Roundtable. Join our live community discussions and share your builds. Find out how and when to join at our website. See you on the trail.